This is our ICU area, so this is where the seals will first come in. They'll get their ADMA exam, so we'll check them over for any wounds that they might have. We'll also take their temperature, just to make sure they're not too hot or not too cold. If they're too cold, we'll heat them up with the heat lamps that you can see over each ICU box. We are a hospital, even though we do have visitors coming in. Our main focus is rehabilitating these animals, so they come in sick, injured or orphaned, so it's just giving them a second chance of life. We can have a little look at them now.
So one of the biggest threats to seals is entanglements and bycatch. Fishing trawlers are out using nets. They don't necessarily discriminate between the target species they're going after and, say, other predators that are going after that same species. So a lot of times, seals will accidentally get entangled in fishing nets, and sometimes they can drown right away. But sometimes those entanglements will actually, they'll be able to get away, but they'll still have plastic wrapped around them. Now the problem with plastic is it doesn't break down, it doesn't break, it doesn't stretch. So as the seals, especially pups, as they start to grow, that entanglement becomes tighter and tighter. And what's really unfortunate about entanglements is it's usually happening to otherwise healthy animals. So many times we're stuck in a position where we're watching an animal too far away and we're not able to get it. And so you kind of feel helpless and you're just watching this animal slowly get worse and worse in their condition. And there's not much you can do about it. Prevention is absolutely the best thing that we can do. So if you see anything on the beach that looks like it could entangle an animal, always pick it up. It's not just impacting seals, it's also all those other species as well.
He's not happy. So these guys, a lot of them are still learning how to eat, and a lot of them have transitioned off their fish soup. So fish soup is what we feed them when they first come in. So firstly, they'll get an electrolyte solution. So ELS is what we call it. So it's just to kind of rehydrate them and just flush out their system. And then we'll start to introduce that soup in a fish blend. Once they're on full soup, that's when fish school will begin. And then sometimes fish school can take a while. Some are quite stubborn, they won't eat for weeks. Some just smash the fish into their face, there's fish guts everywhere. And then we'll just slowly pop them onto what we call free feeds, where they'll eat the fish whole.
Another really big threat to seals is climate change. Because of global warming, there's been an increase in severity and frequency in storms. So these pups, when they're first born and they're quite vulnerable and weak, they have to stay above the high tide line and rest. And the mother will come up and nurse their pup, and then she'll go back out to the sea at rest. So if these pups are washed off of the beach before they're ready, they can drown, they can become injured, they can get separated from their mothers, and they can even die.
We're at the pools now. We have 4 rehabilitation pools here at Seal Rescue Ireland. So once the seals are healthy enough in the kennels, so for our common seals, once they hit about 12 kg, and for our grey seals, when they're about 20 kg, they're off all their meds as well. That's when they'll come out to the pools and they're fully free feeding. So they come out to the pools, they'll socialise with one another, they'll compete for fish against one another as well. And while they're out in the pools, they'll build up their swimming muscles. So we have 4 grey seals in this pool here, and they're nearly ready for release. They're about 10 to 15 kilos off. And we release our grey seals at 35 kilos and our common seals at 30 kilos. And we just give them that little bit of extra weight just to readjust to hunting live fish in the wild. And yes.
Is there anything that I haven't touched upon that you think is very important?
Yes. In Ireland, there's been a historic conflict between fisheries and seals. And that's something that really does need to be discussed more. There's a belief that the seal population has grown and it needs to be controlled, but it's really important to put that into context. There's about 8,000 to 10,000 grey seals in Irish waters currently, and that's a recovery from the 1970s when they almost went completely extinct. And that could happen again if we're not careful. Seals only give birth to 1 pup a year, and about 50% of those pups do not survive their first year. Therefore, it's a very slow population growth. And as a keystone species, they're vital to our marine ecosystems and maintaining a healthy balance. So if we lost our seals, that would have really catastrophic effects in our waters. Now the common seals, despite the name, there's only about 3,000 to 4,000 of them left in Ireland, and those numbers are on a decline. So both species are extremely important to protect. Now grey seals, there's fewer than 350,000 left in the world, which is fewer than African elephants. So it's a globally rare species, and they're also an iconic part of Irish heritage and culture. So it is just really important that we value our wildlife, our native wildlife, that are so important to us, both for heritage and for the environment.